Living in the Seattle area, Mount Rainier is a constant presence. It's the star of the sunset, the jewel of the skyline, the first thing you see flying into the city. Standing at 14,410 feet, Rainier is far from the highest mountain in the world, but it stands almost completely alone. That means this volcano's prominence is greater than any other peak in the lower 48, and even some Himalayan icons like K2. The national park surrounding the mountain is a gem all its own. Growing up, I made some of my favorite outdoor memories at Mount Rainier, whether boot skiing down slush fields in late July, or making a late afternoon trek to catch the burning red sunset. Still, I've always wanted to go further. Always looked over with envy at the summit-bound climbers checking their gear and making their way up the lower mountain trails. So this year, I made my first foray into the upper alpine of Mount Rainier. We woke up at an ungodly hour, and a little before 6:30 on a sunny June morning, arrived at Paradise, one of Mount Rainier's two main base areas. Here, at approximately 5,400 feet of elevation, we left our car, strapped on our spikes, and started up a snow-covered trail. It's crucial to start a long Rainier ascent early in the morning, when the snow is firm and easy to walk on. As the day goes on and the sun beats down on the mountain, the snow softens to slush, making it much harder to get a good footing. Around 7 a.m., we broke out of the trees into what would be wide-open meadows and shorter hiking trails later in the summer. Here, we got our first unobstructed views of the mountain above us and the challenge that lay ahead. Behind us, we could also see the smaller foothill mountains around Rainier, and just peeking out over the top, some of Rainier's distant volcanic cousins, farther south in Washington. As we passed 6,500 feet, we encountered the only section of our route not covered in deep snow. A short rocky traverse across a cliff face bridging Rainier's lower and upper skyline trails. From there, we got back on the snow and continued upward, the mountain a monolith ahead of us, guiding us onward. Passing 7,000 feet of elevation, we left the marked hiking trails and began our long ascent of the Muir snowfield. Flanked by a valley on one side and a ridgeline on the other, this is a wide-open, year-round snowfield that forms an integral part of the main Rainier summit route. There are occasional crevasses and other hazards, but for the most part, it's just one very long uphill slog through the snow. Around 8,000 feet in elevation, we made an interesting sighting, a small bug living in the snow. The variety of bug life on Rainier has always fascinated me. It's almost as if an entire set of strange and unusual high-altitude critters have adapted themselves to this harsh alpine environment. As we passed 9,000 feet in elevation, we found ourselves higher than almost anything else around, able to look down at the foothills and see clearly across to Mount St. Helens, Rainier's volatile cousin, as well as Mount Adams, another volcano in the area. Looking ahead in the distance, we could also just start to see Camp Muir, the permanent alpine camp where summit climbers will spend the night on their way to the peak. With the camp in our sights, we continued up the slope. As we neared 10,000 feet, I could just start to feel the altitude. I've hiked and climbed at higher elevations in the past, but always with some time to acclimate to the lower oxygen levels. Thankfully, I'm not prone to altitude sickness or any of the worst side effects of high elevations, but as the altimeter ticked up, I could feel myself slowing down, each step a little bit more work than the last. Shortly after 10,000 feet, and a few minutes past 11, we reached Camp Muir, where we stopped for a well-earned lunch break. Looking around at the huts, the tents, and the climbers staging for their summits, the place exuded the down-to-earth, adventurous feel of any good mountain camp. And of course, the views down below went on forever. We even saw a few skiers and snowboarders skinning up for the epic ride down the more than 3,000 vertical feet of the Muir snowfield, an activity I immediately added to my bucket list. Looking up, the rest of Rainier suddenly seemed less like a towering monolith and more like an approachable slope, beckoning us onward. We spent a little while exploring the camp and its surroundings, and also climbing up some of the ridgelines and small peaks that surround it. We stopped, though, when we reached more technical glaciated terrain and expansive crevasses. This was never meant to be a summit climb. While a Rainier summit is definitely on my bucket list, it's not a casual adventure. It's a serious mountaineering task requiring the right gear and the right training, and it's not without its risks. Every year, Mount Rainier claims the lives of multiple climbers, accounting for 7% of mountaineering deaths in the United States. It's a mountain that demands respect alongside admiration. With our highest elevation reached and a long, inclined snowfield below us, there was just one thing left to do.
Here we are, Camp Muir. Time to go down the mountain.
What's good enough to ski is good enough to glissade. You can translate that from Mountainese to sliding down a snowy hill on your butt. And while the soft, warm snow and inconsistent incline made for some slower sections, there were some spots where the morning hike positively transformed into an afternoon luge. Before we knew it, we had reached the rocks and the traverse back to lower skyline. Back at lower elevations, we jogged down the slushy hills, soon encountering a hubbub of tourists, and finally, exhausted but exhilarated, we were back at paradise. Climbing to Muir and beyond was one of my favorite alpine experiences yet, and you can bet I'll be back, to ski, and maybe to summit. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel below. It's free to do, quick, and helps motivate me to make more of these videos.